Next question from last time. My mother is 75, and I've tried to further explain Unity2020. She doesn't understand dual governing. She keeps saying people don't work together. Tips on what I can say? She'll be on board if she gets it. It's a cool message.
Yeah, it is a cool message. Look, I think people do work together. I think we're not used to seeing it because we're used to seeing them in zero-sum or negative-sum dynamics, which brings out the worst in people. But if you set up a team and the idea is the success condition looks like, can you figure out how to navigate together, then people don't want to find themselves in failure condition. What's more, I mean, maybe this is the crux of the matter. We are so far away from policy that works in the interests of most people that doing better than we are doing is actually easy, right? If all you did was sweep away the corrupting influences, then figuring out what would be in the interest of the American public is easy at first. There comes a point at which you've done all of the stuff that makes sense, right? And then you can have disagreements about whether you want to prioritize this value or that value. But until you get to all the basic stuff that needs to just work, then there's no point in arguing, right? Good people who have heard the various inputs to the decision-making process will be able to reach agreement. They may not nail it, right? They may pick a second best healthcare solution rather than the absolute best one, because it's impossible to know enough to get it exactly right. But the point is, a second best healthcare solution would be about 1 billion times better than the cruddy one we have now. So the point is, yeah, let's get to one of the good ones, and then we can argue about whether or not we got it exactly right. And then we can, fight about ideology. But at the moment, the ideology is, hey, let's have some policy that serves us because that's what it's supposed to do.
Next one is a comment. It says, Unity2020 is politically naive. It would elect a wet centrist and change nothing. As a founding member of the First Against the Wall Club, I say Bret should run or we kick him out of the club.
It's all very kind. Are you trying to get me killed? No, it's not about centrists. Look, I'm going to say this very clearly because I think this is important. First of all, I have no patience with centrists, and I am very frequently the person challenging the whole idea of centrism because I think it's absurd. However, the center is where we meet, right? The patriotic center is where we meet to talk about the immediate interests of the nation, right? We can, if you're on a ship and it is sinking because it is taking on water, then the point is you put aside your differences about ship design and you deal with the question of how do we get the water to leave the ship faster than it's coming in, right? That's what the center looks like. It doesn't mean that the people involved in the bilge mechanism don't have an idea about how you might construct a ship that would prevent this from happening in the future. They might. But in the meantime, the ship is taking on water. Everybody grab a bucket and let's deal with the immediate problem, right, by putting aside our ideological differences, which frankly, if we talk about them now, they're going to get us killed.
How does Unity2020 hope to deal with Congress? Don't you think they will stonewall you, especially since both sides will hate you? Do you have any plans to put up candidates for Congress? That last question is one we haven't heard before. So you have said we're not going to go into details because we don't want them to see us coming at some level.
Let's put it this way. We can talk about the Congress issue. First of all, there are a lot of, in every place in this system, you have people who are going to operate according to the corrupt modality of the system because, frankly, it's the smart thing to do, right? You can starve yourself by not participating. You can be a jerk and you can be corrupt no matter what, or you can function according to the rules of the system as you find them and hope for better rules. And so some fraction of the Congress is going to be people who would love to be freed. But here's the thing. For Unity2020 to work, we need a groundswell sufficient to draft these candidates. That groundswell is a credible threat against people who stonewall in the Congress. In other words, the reason that this can succeed is that people are livid at how they are being treated by their government. To the extent that you have people in Congress who find themselves faced with a presidential team that has been elected specifically to drain the swamp, there's an incentive to declare yourself not of the swamp, to take a pledge perhaps that would prevent you from participating in swamp-like behavior. And I believe there are many ways that this could function. So it's not a small issue, but let's just say the groundswell that tells the apparatus that we are completely sick of being treated this way and being parasitized is the key, not only to changing the people in the White House, but to changing the Congress.